On a sunny morning in a small village near the Ganges River, a young merchant named Ravi loaded up his ox cart with fabrics, spices, and other goods to take to the market in the next town. As he prepared for his journey, his childhood friend Anjali came by to see him off. "Have a safe trip, my friend. I hope you come back with lots of money," said Anjali. Ravi laughed and replied, "I'll try. If things go well, I'll sell everything today and be back before the sun sets." He then instructed his oxen to move, and his cart started rolling down the dusty road. Anjali waved as the cart went further away. After a few hours, Ravi was halfway to the market when his cart hit a big rock, and the wheel on the right side broke. Ravi sighed, got the oxen out, and examined the damaged wheel. It was in bad shape, and he needed to fix it to continue his journey. While Ravi was gathering the tools to repair the wheel, he noticed an orange-robed monk walking by. It was Gautama Buddha, walking without shoes and carrying a begging bowl. "Hello, friend. I see you need some help," said Buddha kindly. Ravi explained his situation with the broken wheel, and Buddha offered to assist him. As they worked together, Ravi asked, "Why are you walking on this road today?" Buddha replied, "I go wherever people need me. I walk from one village to another, teaching those who seek wisdom." Intrigued, Ravi said, "If you have any teachings that could help me, I'd love to hear them." Buddha nodded and began, "I can share something about the path to success, as you have a long journey ahead. There are only two mistakes you can make on the way to success: not starting and not going all the way." Ravi looked puzzled and asked, "What do you mean?" Buddha continued, "Imagine success is like reaching a distant city or climbing a tall mountain. To get there, you must start the journey and keep moving. But there are only two mistakes you can make. First, some people never begin the journey. If you don't take the first step, you'll never get closer to success." Ravi reflected on his friend Anjali, who often talked about selling her pottery in other places, but never left their village. Buddha continued, "The second mistake is starting the journey with enthusiasm, but stopping before you reach your goal. It's like beginning to climb a mountain and then quitting halfway." Ravi nodded in understanding and said, "I get it now. The only mistakes are not starting and not finishing." Buddha smiled and added, "Exactly. Everything else on the way are just lessons and opportunities, not mistakes. Problems, like your broken wheel, teach you patience and problem solving. Getting lost offers an opportunity to ask for directions, and meeting other travelers provides companionship." By this time, Ravi had finished repairing the wheel. He stood up and thanked Buddha for his wisdom. "You've given me a lot to think about. I'm grateful for your advice," Ravi said. Buddha clasped his hands and bowed back, saying, "Your journey is long. Keep your eyes on the destination and take one step at a time. Don't lose hope when things get tough. Remember, success isn't just reaching a place, it's becoming a better person on the way. Travel well, my friend." Ravi thanked Buddha again and offered him some fresh mangoes for his journey. After packing up, he continued on to the market, determined not to give up, no matter what challenges came his way. By the end of the day, Ravi had sold all his goods at the market and had a considerable amount of money in his purse. As the sun set behind the mountains, he felt a sense of happiness and success. When he returned home, Anjali greeted him enthusiastically. "Ravi, you're back so soon, and you made so much money." Ravi replied, "It was a long day, but it was worth it. I made good time because I stayed focused on the destination, just as Buddha taught me." Anjali was surprised and asked, "You got advice from Buddha himself?" Ravi smiled and said, "Yes, I did." During the evening meal, Ravi shared his journey with Anjali. As she listened, she realized that if she wanted to sell her pottery in distant places, she had to embark on her own journey to success. The only mistakes she could make were not starting and not finishing. The next morning, with Ravi's encouragement, Anjali packed her best pottery and set off on her exciting journey into the unknown. Along the way, she faced doubts and difficulties, but she remembered Buddha's wisdom. Months passed, and Anjali's journey took her to new cities and villages to sell her pottery. It wasn't always easy, but she never gave up. Each day, she improved through practice and learning from others. After a long time on the road, Anjali found herself walking on a hot, dusty path one afternoon. In the distance, she saw a tired traveler sitting under a tree for shade. As she got closer, she realized it was Buddha himself. With a joyful heart, she approached him and bowed, saying, "My friend, we meet again. I can't thank you enough for the wisdom you shared with Ravi. It has guided me all along this journey." Buddha smiled warmly and replied, "You've walked your path well. Tell me, what have you learned on your journey?" Anjali thought for a moment and said, "I've learned that the journey itself brings more joy than hardship, as long as you stay focused on it. Every step makes you grow, even if you make mistakes, and helping others on their paths gives meaning to mine." Buddha nodded and said, "You've understood the heart of the journey. The road itself holds the most valuable rewards when you travel with mindfulness and compassion." Anjali offered her food and water to Buddha, and they sat together, talking about all she had learned on her journey so far. She listened closely, knowing there was still much to learn. When it was time for Anjali to continue on her path, she bowed once more to Buddha with deep respect. "Thank you for walking this road with me for a while. Your wisdom will guide my steps wherever they lead." Buddha placed his hand on her head as a blessing and said, "You've always walked your own path, my child. Trust the journey ahead with hearts full of joy and renewed inspiration." With that, they parted ways, and Anjali continued her journey, touching lives with her pottery and her stories in many more cities and villages. She realized that success grew like a lotus flower, blooming from within through patient care. There were no shortcuts. Only by embracing the long path with patience and goodness could one become their best self. So she walked on, following the Buddha's cherished words. Dear friends, our life is a journey, and everyone's path is different. Like Ravi and Anjali, we all face challenges, and sometimes we meet helpful people along the way, and sometimes we do not. But remember, it's not just about where you're going, but how you get there and what you learn. Sometimes starting is the hardest part, and other times we just need to keep going, even when it's tough. Each step, whether good or bad, teaches us something. So keep moving, keep learning, and enjoy your journey.